Ah, there we are. I can see the little wiggly lines now. Ah, there we are. Alright, welcome back to Recharging the Batteries, where we are having the first of what I imagine is going to be somewhat regular versions of this, where I consume alcohol before and after. Simply put, I had a whole lot of alcohol last night and I woke up and I'm like, oh shit, I've got to go stream in a little bit. Boom. I had more alcohol. I'm still consuming beer. But instead of my coffee, you'll wait until I'm done with my beers. That's right, all of them. Not all of them actually, because I'm not even on my water with me. This is the only one that isn't open. I guess I'll keep this. Now, while I start off, I want to direct anyone who watches in the future or in the past or in the future past or in the whatever to check out this, and I forgot it doesn't link, but it's basically for the straw poll. At this point, I've talked enough about the straw poll that enough people should know. We're getting good we're getting good feedback. And you'll find the link for this down in the description down below. By all means, I recommend you go and, if you haven't already, add your 2 cents to it. It's looking like it's going to be a deadlock between the 24-hour stream and the not talk show. What is actually the current thing? I have to actually look at it. 24-hour stream and the talk show. Yeah, okay. One more and that'll make towards the talk show, and that'll make it a deadlock. But some also threw in there 2 cents to make it towards the travel videos, which for the record you should be getting tomorrow unless the weather is bad. I know I said that last week. The honest fact was that I was so busy out and about that I ended up not being able to pull that shit off. Saying that, however, I should be able to this week. It will just be a matter of the weather, really. So expect the Shemore In video coming to a YouTube channel near you. Yeah. So, I'm going to take a little bit longer to get started today. We're going to be running for an hour and a half. And if you don't know what this show is about, by the way, recharging the batteries, I am currently on a diet, which is probably why the alcohol is hitting me as hard as it is. And the gist is that I run on the spot. I normally don't drink. This is the first time I actually drink on stream for this. At this point, I might as well do a review. I've actually done reviews while drunk. Okay, so now I've done everything while drunk. But I don't know. Probably you do. I run on the spot, and you guys just pop in the chat and help me out. Talk to me. Tell me what's up. Tell me who's who. Tell me what's where. Keep yourself distracted long enough that I can actually finish my hour and a half. Because a lot of people listen to music to pump themselves up. I need distraction to take away from the fact that my legs usually are on pure fire and I'm bathed in sweat. Today in particular, I will be bathed in sweat because it's not all that warm outside. And in fact, before I begin, I'm even going to turn on the my fan just to make it even chillier. But it's going to be really it's going to be really sweaty because when I drink beer, I tend to get very sweaty, and that goes even if I hadn't drank it on this stream. Same for tomorrow. Same for like it regardless. So I've got like 2 half cans. Now I'm kind of trapping myself by drinking these cans. I started drinking them. Um, I started drinking them last night during the DFF 8-hour stream and the DP standard Monday stream. But the reason I wanted to drink was because I don't know, I was getting subliminal messaging, blame anyone, you know. Blame the Jews in charge of marketing for getting it into your brain. Parasite. I have some literature you should read. I didn't do a good job of this. My little blotches here and there. Well, I guess while I'm here, low energy shaving. There you go. There you go. No. What is this, a fucking liver spot? What the fuck's going on? That's weird as fuck. That's some of it, at least. Aha! Behold, power of 2 hands. Welcome back to Low Energy Barbershop, where I will talk to you about the fact that being a barber is one more thing I'm not very good at. This is all procrastination, by the way. I'd fucking love someone just randomly finds this later on. I'd be like, yeah, I need to shave my skull. Why? Well, just waited to do it on camera. I did it on camera because I need to shave my skull and I didn't notice until then. How do you not notice? Well, my life is different than yours. You are aware of that fact, right? There. Never say I don't give you content. Most vile. Skulltastic. Anyway, back to the beer. I have things to do. I hate to drink beer like that. It's not that a can of Budweiser is worth anything. It's just that I hate it because it makes my tum-tum be like, ew, no. I'm such a delicate wallflower, it's weird. I mean, it's definitely weird because I've slept on the streets before and I've been like, oh, it wasn't so bad. The occasional person wandering around woke me up, but that was it. I've been in hostels and hotels even that's woke me up for less. But then I'll be like, I don't want to touch the recycle bin. Weird, man. Anyway, tomorrow, while I'm here, I'll tell you now, we will be going on rabbits, in theory around about 6 o'clock, but probably a good bit later because I will be out and about taking pictures. And when I say taking pictures, I mean no more of this phone shit. I have a crappy little digital camera that I found, and more importantly, I found the charger for it. So expect to see footage uploaded. That's actually what I took the very first video on my channel. The very first thing. If you go down, way down the bottom of the list, I think it was this. But I couldn't find a charger for the longest time. While I was ripping my room apart looking for my wallet, I found this. So, anyway, I'll be heading up to Shemore. Hopefully, beforehand though, I'm gonna pop into every place I was in last week and find my fucking wallet. Then I'll just make a quick, like, half-hour long video, maybe even less. Well, probably less, considering it'll take me probably about an hour to walk up there. Once I get up there, I will just maybe give you a quick tour of the bar if it's empty. If not, I'll give you a quick tour of the bar in a different way, and that's it. That'll be Shemore Inn. That'll be the video. But anyway, I need to stop procrastinating. Gas. I was at the Tennant's Brewery. They told me something very interesting. You drink from a can. It's never as satisfying as when you drink from a pint glass. And the reason behind that one is the gas. It'll fill you up twice as quick. You more or less have to do what you do with wine and open up a bottle like a cork and then let it sort of like air breathe for a little bit. And it's also a good way of like getting more in you. Like professional beer drinkers, like for drinking challenges and chugging races, as they used to call them, they tend to drink pints rather than like knocking back cans and shit. Alright, so I'm gonna have one more hit of this, and then I've got my only one, the one that isn't opened. I'll put that there. So that'll be my water for tonight. Got another two half ones. If I can get actually one more in. I can. Kind of. There'll be no rhyme or reason when I reach for those motherfuckers, but once they're gone, they're gone. Alright. There goes my mic. At least I know it still fucking works. Hassle, hassle, hassle. Huff, huff, huff. Okay. Let's go. So, we will be running for an hour and a half. If I'm smart before I begin, I will finish this can and go to the toilet. So we'll do you all a favor. Give me a second. filter always gets in the way when I do this. It's no help. What the fuck use is a pop filter? Anyway. Don't need my headphones. Jesus. I'll tell you, I've walked out as far as the Chinese restaurant that I sometimes eat at, which is just around the corner there, but I've walked out of them with those on my head. Right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we start. Now, our object is simple. I am going at a current speed of 6k. I want to get a distance of 6k. So, with that in mind, I will keep the speed regular, but if I think I need to increase the speed, I will. That usually happens right at the end. Now normally I have a big thing of water here, because this is my first beer stream, my first drinking stream. I got beer instead, and I've been drinking beer. But, whoa, hi Bill. I'm just a Bill, yeah, I'm only a Bill. Today I learned about the tone lock and not to mess with the funky cold Medina. Okay, you're gonna need to now that you've learned, you're going to need to show me what you're talking about. It sounds like music, of which so Nito Petito. But teacher so wise traveler from across the sea. One plus about me running like this will be all the beautiful, fantasculous gas from the beer I drank is just going to vanish like a turd in the wind. Just type tone lock into Google or YouTube, the rap. Okay, cool. I had a feeling it would be a rapper. So, I'm trying to think what I learned. I learned that Logan Paul had a party where, as a bunch of it was Logan. As Logan Paul had a party, there was a bunch of girls who were completely off their heads, on drugs and half naked, and they were forced to sign a waiver before they left. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that I could picture the Logan brothers doing date rape and then passing it off as that guy who his daddy was rich, so he got off scot-free. Which I know doesn't narrow it down at all. That's happened more than once. I was watching Philly D and they brought it up. You know, I like Philip DeFranco.
but I'm not gonna lie. His voice is starting to grate on my fucking nerves. Which is odd. Because he did nothing wrong. Brock Turner, yeah. Was he the one who, I was about to say the frat boy, but that doesn't narrow it down either, does it? This shit has been brought up since the fucking 70s. Hell, we only started to become really aware of it in the 70s. Let's be honest here, it's been going on as far back as wealthy people can get away with it. And it happens all over the world. I mean, if you get raped in Saudi Arabia, you're kind of fucked. But if you get raped in 17th century England, you're just as equally as fucked. Here in Ireland, I've mentioned them before, but you would be sent off to the Magdalene sisters if you were raped, like you did anything wrong. Ah, you must have goaded them, being a Jezebel. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not planning to put blue in my beard or anything like that. But there are times where I look at the world and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, women have it fucking rough. And by times, that can depend on the time and place and shit. And some of which are non-issues, but they're played up just as much as any issue. Like, sorry there ladies, I don't plan to ever pay for your menstruation pads. That's not a scheme I will ever get behind. But if you have any problem with paying for condoms in schools, then it's fair. Then stop paying condoms in schools. Or maybe we can both join in just to pay into a big old tax that will help kids on both sides have life a little easier. What's the pink tax? That's what it's called. Yeah, that's real. The pink tax is real. You just have to go to a pharmacy and see it firsthand. I mean, Tesco everyday tampons. I don't think anyone actually buys those. Oh, that would make so much money, and it wouldn't be America who'd do it first. It would be Russia. Did you ever see, like, it was just after the wall fell. I'd say about 92, 93. You might still find footage of it on YouTube. And it's, like, from Moscow. And it's something like get out of jail or die, but it's translated into Russian, obviously. And it was basically security cameras across Moscow would follow these guys who have some prior rap, usually something small, but in most cases, well, in some cases, like big things. And the object is that they have to reach the outskirts of Moscow, and they'll be dropped. But if the police catches them, they'll shoot them. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, that's a meme. Well, it might be a meme, but I saw it being passed around so many different UK networks back in those days, that, including Tarrant on TV, who made a very, very concerted effort to fact check what he was watching. Didn't know it was work. but it was kind of like the Running Man, you know. Get to the far end of the Running Man and you're free. Or the Hunger Games. Well, this is the same principle. So I imagine if they're ever going to bring it back, the Russians would do it first. And let's be honest here. The Russians would have the bulk of the rapists on the island being black. And then it turns out that just so happened that the political opponents of Putin, who would be like 90 years old on a throne of bones, declaring himself the second Tsar, he would be, all his political opponents would suddenly have turned out to have, you know, raping attitudes. They went out and they rapitude. Like, I could see it being used as a way to punish political dissent in a public way, but it's very dystopian. Because it wouldn't just be rape at that point. If you put them all on Little Island, food would be a major problem. So we'd probably see a rise of cannibalism. And of course, what happens if some of those women... What about like the Pussycat Dolls? They would get fucking gang raped to death within like 5 seconds. Or maybe they do a 180 and become like the queens of the new empire of Rapetopia. They didn't rape. I'm not saying they raped, but I'm saying Putin would throw shade like that. Now I could definitely see Russia doing that for the first time. And then America would classy it up. Live from Las Vegas, welcome to the Rape Dome. You know, sponsored by Gillette. And always Maxi Pads. How weird would that be? Hell, if Gillette and Maxi want to sponsor something, they should have the international stripper competitions. Like, you need both smoothness and control for that shit, or else it's just going to be disqualified on the spot. Damn. You put a nugget in my head now. I can't really stop thinking like how far deep the rabbit hole goes, and I keep coming back to the Hunger Games, but instead it's more based around rape. Alcohol will fix this issue. Right. So, update. Distance 1.2 kilometers. Speed 6 kilometers, of course. Calories 90. Counting down 76 minutes to go. I'm going to be here for a very long time, but unlike a lot of other times, right now I don't give too much of a toss. Did you see the feral cat walking the catwalk against a line of models? I did not. Oh shit, I need to watch that. Like, did it get in, or was it an open air catwalk? A feral cat should know better than get near that many humans. You know a channel on Sky that I never understood the purpose of was Fashion. Fashion TV was the most ridiculous background noise. I would sometimes see it in really trendy pubs Oh well, open air catwalk explains how it gets in, but it still doesn't explain why the cat itself, if it was a wild one, thought it was a good idea to go to so many humans. Particularly so many humans in motion. I grew up around wild cats, I'll tell you right now. They prefer if you stay still. I'm not saying what you're saying is untrue, I'm saying, what the fuck was going on with that cat? But anyway, back to fashion TV before I forget my train of thought. 75 minutes. So, like, you'd see it just randomly on TVs and really trendy bars and clubs, where let's just say I was too poor, in theory, to drink in, and they would often, like, have it on the background. But I was thinking, like, is this like Bloomberg? Just have it on in the background. Like, it doesn't really matter too much, because it doesn't seem like it would net you any extra money. Like, regular people wouldn't watch that shit. Like, I don't care who's hot in Milan right now, or that new designer out of Hong Kong, you know, or these are the top 5 models you need to watch this season. I don't give a shit about that. For starters, I mean, look at the state of it. Any Gok Wan-esque motherfucker, hell, any RuPaul motherfucker want to show up and completely renovate me, I'd be cool for that. Let's be honest, I ain't got a lot to work with. But neither did anyone else in the bar. It made more sense when, like, horse racing or like stand-up comedy would be playing, because at least you'd get engaged in that. With horse racing, that's a lot of money, especially with the Kentucky Derby. Jesus, I imagine a lot of people around here spent a lot of money on the Kentucky Derby. Kentucky, say it right though. Kentucky Derby. There. Blech. And with stand-up comedy, you're drunk. You'll get a cheap laugh. But anyway, back to that performance he talked about. It was in a cat temple. I've always wondered about those cat temples. Are they very near the rat temples in India? Because I can't imagine the cat temple and the rat temple gets along very well. Also, I know there's no dog temple in India as far as I'm aware, but there is a dog temple in Indonesia. They have the same respect for dogs as they do as Africans' hyenas. They eat like the dead and shit. But yeah, there's some truth to that. They do eat the dead. I mean, they'll eat anything. They're fucking dogs. My mom spoiled all the dogs that we've ever had and she's ever had. Going like, oh no, they don't like this food, they like that food. Wendover, Nevada, where all the big displays. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I mean, is that appealing to the 1.1% of the model community who didn't know about this casino? Or are they trying to show off that they're very glamorous and glitzy? Well, no. Let's be honest here. Casinos aren't glamorous or glitzy. They're a bunch of bright lights that are designed to take your money. And if you want a comparison, think a strip club. The girl always shows off Like, she shows up, or the guy for that matter, in a costume. Why? It's the same way a peacock flaps its feathers. You know? It's there to catch your eye. It's there to go like, oh, this is something different, this is something strange. But reality, you know exactly what you're going to get. In a strip club, or in a casino, or in both. I'm sure that somewhere there is a strip club casino. I like the scenery ones. The model ones are neither here nor there for me. Exactly. I mean, say you go to like the El Paso Ranch Casino, and it's all like, you have blackjack tables on like mesas, and they're like animatronic cowboys going like yeehaw next to like a nugget of gold. Like, you know, this is all just played up. So you'd sit down in front of a table, not even a slot machine. The slot machines are for the fucking pussies, which I myself am one. I fucking love slots. Of all that and roulette. But like, the idea is that you get down in front of the card table, you lose all your money at cards, you spend a little bit more in the bar, and then they kick you out. I mean, Vegas, Reno, what's the one in Mississippi? Or is it Tennessee? Shit. Well, anyway, I know there's a few there. Hell, there's also a few in Council Bluffs in Iowa, which is situated right across the river from Omaha. And if you want to go gamble, there are some fucking sleazy casinos right there. You walk in, you are not under any circumstances illusion that these are your friends, that you're going to get a better deal. No, they're going to fucking squeeze you dry. It's like a stripper. She has to show like what, 98% of her body? If she doesn't want to, she doesn't have to touch it. She's going to walk away with tips. Oh, it's like Lucia or something like that. I'll always remember the line from Ocean's 13, where as a part of the scam, the guy, the black guy who died a few years ago, part of the crew, he played Bosley in the Charlie Angels film, but he's setting up this this sort of scam domino game, and they start having this fight to like the part of the scam is that they start having they start having a fight, and one of them says like, I'll have you as top billing in my new resort inn, and then he states it, and then I don't know where the place is though. That's it. That's why I've been saying this whole sketch out. Tacoma? I'm thinking Tacoma or something like that. Bernie Mac, yes. Well, that's the black guy. R.I.P. Bernie. He was cool. But yeah, like in Ocean 13, like he's going to get top billing in the new resort that the guy who's in on the scam is suggesting, but it's like in this shithole in the middle of like Tennessee or Louisiana or something like that, like a real southern state that no one goes to on holidays really. And Al Pacino goes, isn't that where gaming goes to die? But I checked it out, and sure enough, yeah, it's like, it's even sadder than Atlantic City, who's another example of, like, you don't go to Atlantic City to beat the tables. You go to Atlantic City to lose money and forget yourself for a few hours. Or days if you have the money to spend. I got to see the outside of Atlantic City. I got to see the big Hilton from like a ridge. I remember that. Never got to go inside Atlantic City though. We were on a job. Instead, we just turned back and went up back to an area outside of New York. Oh, was it? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was so long ago now. But anyway, back to gambling as a rule. Like, anyone who gambles is under the assumption that they're going to be cheated. Anyone who thinks that, oh, I've got the perfect strategy, there's 3 ways that's going to work out. Number 1, you'll make money and spend it right back in the same place. Even if you don't want to, they'll find a way. That's what the girls are with the fucking drinks. Compliments of the house, you know? Oh yeah, hookers. The mob, it's one of the last real strongholds of the mob, is Atlantic City. And, you know, I don't know how many. I think while some of the hotels now are bought off by like out of country conglomerates, like say Chinese or the people who run Monte Carlo, the people who put it together, the Teamsters Union, the construction unions, I think they pay a little bit up to basically Sopranos. They pay a little bit up to the mafia, or what's left of the modern day mafia. I'm not, like, I love the Sopranos because a lot of it is based off first-hand testimony of what, like, the real mob is like. And it's not like The Godfather. They wanted to be The Godfather, but it's not even like the Goodfellas movies anymore. That time is gone and past. Instead, it's, you know, they're all driving around in fucking tracksuits. And all running around in tracksuits, and like everyone's got their own little finger in the pie, and they can just pull enough money together that they can then bump it up to the next level up on the chain. I mean, remember, Tony was not the boss of the entire family. That was his uncle. And well, his uncle had like millions and millions. And what did he do with his money? He looked like any other old man. That's because a lot of them do. Which makes sense. You don't want to flaunt that shit. If you flaunt it too much and the IRS is on your fucking ass. Back to Atlantic City. I've heard some crazy stories about Atlantic City, but it seems like the Reno of the East to me. Or maybe I should say Reno is the Atlantic City of the West. It is the most like depressing version of something better. If you're ever going to do that shit, which is stupid as a rule, but if you're ever going to gamble, like properly gamble, show up there with 10 grand and leave there with negative 2,000, go to Vegas or go to Shanghai. Shanghai has become the Las Vegas of the East. A lot of casinos, a lot of them opened up. And they're even trying to buy off chunks of Las Vegas now. And they have in some cases, particularly the ones that don't fare too well. Like, I'm not talking about the Caesars or anything like that. I'm talking about the one that Lucky 38 was inspired by from Fallout New Vegas. I hear they got bought off by Chinese investors. Doesn't help to where they're situated, but I think they're just buying off the land, so one day they can knock it down and build something else. And they do it through shell companies and the like. I mean, that's Vegas for you. I mean, the whole city was built up for fucking shell companies. Saying that, I want to go to Vegas. I want to see Fremont Street. and look up and see those, like that fictitious ceiling. But I also want to go to Reno. And hell, I want to go to Atlantic City. In particular, I want to see what sort of quality of stage performer they have. Because Vegas has like top billing. Well, in all fairness, Broadway has top billing. But after Broadway, Las Vegas. And then oh boy, sweaty McSweatersons. I told you that sweat. I'm only half an hour in, by the way, and we're keeping it nice and steady, by the way. Distance 3, speed 6, calories 210. Oh yeah, 211 now. But yeah, like the money. In a lot of the smaller places, they must be able to keep the lights on, because I hear Vegas is a bit of a shithole, like just to live in, and that includes like incredibly high prices. So investor groups can buy off the land that will one day become more casinos, or at least car parks, just like in Dublin Airport. Little known fact about Dublin Airport: at one point, one of the biggest landlords in Western Europe. They own massive tracts of land. She has huge tracts of land. But like it's but they did it mostly so they could eventually rent it out to car parks. Third-party car park people. It sucks that you can't take pictures of any of the machines I wanted to prove. Konami. Oh, you don't need that shit, man. Just show them links from Super Bunny Hop's video to Japan. It's totally legal to record that shit in Japan. But they do. And they license their games. Push the lever. Do it. Push the lever. It's actually very well known. It's like any otaku who's gone over to Japan will be like, is that a Metal Gear Solid pachinko machine? And sure enough it is. Or is that Capcom? I know they did a Silent Hill one. I know they did a House of a Dead one. Point is, yeah, pachinko machines are quite common. Well, yeah. Nevada and gambling is a strange creature. Almost as strange as fucking brothels. I mean, it is legal in Nevada, but I mean, you guys only got one fucking brothel. The Ranch. Am I right? I mean, open brothel. I'm sure there's a lot of others. And then escorts make their own money. And then hookers walking the street make their own money. But outside of Nevada, it depends. And pachinko machines, because they can't be called gambling, as they are called devices of skill by the Japanese economic bureau, can't count as that, so you can't have the same level of like privacy. So you can totally show them. Just type in YouTube and link your brother, and he will see firsthand what Konami has turned themselves into. A fucking piece of shit. That's why Jim Sterling has Konami News. Fuck Konami News. Welcome back to Fuck Konami News, because Konami is the worst. He hasn't done quite as many of those in a while. Or the brothels that just can't be in the city with major gambling. Alright. So I suppose then the Ranch is just the most famous of them all. You get so many conflicting reports from the Ranch. Some girls are like, oh, it was so much fun. Others are like, I hated myself all the time. You go to the Dutch, though. You go to the numerous Dutch like brothels, and they'll all say the same thing, which is, I've got a kid to support, I'll do whatever. There's like no shame to it in that regard. Except if you go in the interior of Holland. They have such a schizophrenic attitude towards life. You go only like 45 minutes into the interior of the country on the train, and you are in places that will make the Amish look flamboyant. They will actually put signs up on the station in English pointing out that this is a prostitution-free, marijuana-free, and in some cases even alcohol-free town. But then, because they're good, helpful Protestants, they will point in both directions where you can get those things. In other words, they don't want you to stick around, and I can get that. Of course it should! Cannabis should be legalized, regulated, taxed. We should have licenses to open up stores. Bars should sell it as well as beer. And as for whoring, no pimps. A boss, sure, but there should be like lines. I mean, there's tons of documentaries where they interview the hookers in Amsterdam, and they show you this booklet of like things you can and cannot do, and it's like this big, and they have to fucking memorize it. Like when they're not getting railed by someone or sucking off cock or spanking a naughty, dirty piggy boy, they're like, okay, so if I give permission, a finger can go in there, but if I don't give permission, I can give him a warning if he skirts the edges. Like, it's absolutely insane, but it makes perfect sense. This is what we say when we want to tax it and regulate it and make sure the girls are safe and make sure the boys are safe too, because there's plenty of gay sex going on in Amsterdam. Like, and transsexual. Like the amount of ladyboys you'll see wandering about. There are streets for that. If you have an itch, they will scratch it for you. And what's more, they are so used to this shit that they won't put up with any bullshit from you or even from them. If, for example, a girl breaks her terms of agreement, terms of services, she's out in the street, but she's out in the street with a severance package and a reference should she need to reapply. And that includes, like, if she wants to become a barista, if she wants to become, like, wants to go back to college, there's no shame to it. It's just another job. Man, it's great. And other countries do something similar. I know Switzerland has drive-through brothels where you pull your car up and you basically pull it up into a garage that's been turned into a bedroom. You get out, you get back in, drive away. Now the only thing I want to know is how much of that money does the girl get? Because I think if it's like a co-op, she has to throw some money in to update the building, to ensure the taxes are paid, the bills are paid. But I think she should get the bulk of the money. Because she's doing all the work. It should be professional, basically. As for weed, it definitely should be professional. And the great thing about it is, there are so many weed distributors across America, across the world, who make this into a true job of real skill and quality. Just like winemaking, just like carpentry, just like car manufacturers, whatever you can think of, these motherfuckers can do it. I follow the guy who taught me how to make canna butter, for example. His channel. It's called like Cannabis World or something like that. It's very, very professional, very straightforward, and very, very helpful. I hope he gets a very big Patreon as well. They even went to like a former dealer on the streets, handing out little baggies in his in like coffee shops and shit. He now runs a massive factory, and the first thing he says is, if you think you can do this as a hobby, you might as well stop now. It'll save you a lot of time and money and a lot of disappointment. You have to make this into your life. And they're fucking right. If you're going to grow industrial levels of weed for a big environment, it's a job. It's a real job. So it should be paid for in the same way. Tax it, regulate it. Have inspectors come out. I know some states do. I know Nevada does. And they probably hired the people who at one point were done for possession of weed. Oh man, I like what America is doing in that regard. State after state after state legalizing it. And I'm not saying it's without its flaws as well. They've replaced alcohol driving, drunk driving accidents with weed in some places. It's true. However, violent crime is down. Because a lot more people are mellow. A lot more people are cool about it. And a lot more people are willing to, instead of jump at you at a bar, rather sit down at you, like sit down with you at a table, or a chair, or a sofa, and just chill. And even if you don't agree, you come to some sort of compromise because you know it's the better of the two outcomes. And then afterwards you're like, oh wow, I didn't have to go to jail. Or I don't have a criminal record now. No. Legalize it. I'll tell you, a Republican president like Trump, which I know you can barely call him Republican now, but if he were to go and say, start the process of legalization of weed, even if he didn't get elected next year, the next president comes up won't put a 180 on that. They will once again be jumping at the bit to go like, oh no, he only did it for cynical political reasons. I'm doing it because I care about the people. Whatever you want to tell yourself there, love, so long as you legalize it. The only problem I have of legalization is the quality control will probably plummet a lot quicker. And I'll give you an example. The French winemaking industry is proudly independent. That allows it to produce the highest grade quality of wine. And they had a champion in a very unlikely place. And that was Fidel Castro, the man who went and got himself, overthrew Batista in Cuba, and then had a falling out with Che, and basically one of the longest running world leaders in modern history, proper socialist, proper communist socialist. But he openly stated, never allowed the government to control the winemaking industry in France, because they will have a set of rules that you can and cannot follow, and because each vineyard is different, each vineyard will produce a different type, and you get rid of that and you're kind of fucked, It's really sad. And as far as I'm aware, the French government isn't trying to change that shit. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at the chat. Let's have a look at the chat. Sorry if it seems I've been rambling. Like I said, I've been drinking. But also, just as importantly, I need to ramble to keep my mind off the incredible pain that's going through my legs right now. Woo! Woo! Alright, so we're at 45 minutes to go. And we're at 45 kilometers. Calories, 315. Speed, 6. Next update is in 15 minutes, where I will say something somewhat similar. In the meantime, run, fat boy, run! Well, I wouldn't really call this a run. It's more of a gentle slog. But it's a gentle slog that's producing so much sweat that I must be getting some good done. Of course, didn't help them drinking fucking beer. Speaking of, look, this is my last beer until tomorrow. Look, I'm. Surprised it wasn't full of suds. It's definitely helping with the running. But I'm like Robin Williams. I need a fucking starter to ramble off on. Saying that, I saw the new Spider-Man trailer today. It's they really are pushing the narrative that he's the new Iron Man. Which, okay, I can see worse people to become that title. It's just Mysterio. Really, I really like these candies called Sea Squishes. They're like gummies made with gushers. It's great. I would like a cannabis. Oh, well, the thing is, I can't stand gushers. They're too icky, in my opinion. However, now that you've mentioned them as edibles, yes, that shit, because I've had squishies before. I like squishies. I'm not a big fan of Swedish fish. They're too soft, too pliable. Make that shit firmer. That's how we have our gelatin over here. Our gummies, like wine gums and midget gems. Oh, sweet Christ, midget gems when you're stoned is fucking amazing. But like you pop them in the fridge for an hour prior before you get stoned, and by the time you really get the munchies, you open up the fridge and there it is, and they feel like an explosion of flavor constantly hitting your mouth, but the texture is also really nice. All gummies frozen in the fridge beforehand. Not frozen, but you know, mildly firmer. Anyway, but when you mentioned them becoming edibles, that makes sense. That shit would be a lot nicer. This will be the only shill I'm gonna give, seeing that I'm halfway through it. Remember, folks, if you like the stream, give it a thumbs up, like it, share it, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you do subscribe, and this is kind of a big deal. Check down the description, you will find, of course, our Discord and our Streamlabs, but you'll also find our Rabbit and our straw poll. The straw poll in particular, I would like you to take a good look at this week. I've been getting a fair bit of feedback, actually. I'm very happy to see this. I appreciate it. It's currently a tie between a 24-hour stream and a talk show. And Shortbus was asking me, oh, speak of the devil. He was asking me last night, who would I get? Well, I'm sure it'd be no surprise, but I'm not exactly as tight with the bigger names as you think I am, but I can still pull a few cards, one of which being Evan. I'm sure Evan Lefebvre will be down for that shit. Jay Darky might be down. I think Darker Elite is his name, from the League of Extraordinary Jackass, YouTube Jackasses. He'd be down for that. There's a few people who are under the maybe, but I'm thinking more content. I probably have to gear it towards each guest. Anyway, despite all that, as for the 24-hour stream, gaming and chatting to people. That's it. That's like it. I'm not gonna fuck around this time round if I do the 24-hour stream. I won't end up dealing with... Yeah, I figured as much. I won't fuck around with things like wandering about and shit. Rather, I'll just stream 24 hours, non-stop. I will have food ready for me. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway. Let's talk about what Darkside Phil did. What? YouTube drama? Here on Low Energy? But you're normally such a classy dude. So, if you don't know who Darkside Phil is, back in the early days of YouTube, kind of a big deal. Well, Bill, if you know anyone else who watches this, or even doesn't watch this, but could be tricked them, scheme them in, give me higher view counts so my social blade is not so embarrassing. First time I ever checked that out last night. In fact, I am doing a lot better than a lot of other people who are bigger than me, and that's kind of sad. I'm not going to name names. But anyway, let's talk about Darkside Phil. This is naming names in a different context. I didn't check out what his one is. Basically, if you don't know who he is, he's an early YouTuber. Mostly did fighting games and competitive games and all gaming, kind of like what I did. But he kind of got into some drama of his own making. There's no, I got no respect for the man. He's very, he's always come across as very sort of lolcow. He asks almost to be abused by the fans and the trolls and everyone in between. He's a very sad person. Not helped by the fact of his relationship with a girl who may or may not have turned out to be a fucking prostitute. And also he masturbated on stream once. You got to see his face. Which, can I just say, that face, that has way more energy than I do. I just sort of tense up and shit. Not when I'm having sex, but when I'm actually just masturbating. Come on. This. Okay. Cool. I guess if you're a woman, it'd be kind of hot. But I'm talking more about a recent thing. He was going to go on Drunken Peasants. I don't know who he was going to debate, but I know he's going to debate someone. No, he wasn't even going to debate. He was just going to be given a platform. And last night, at the last moment, he went and started a Twitch run stream saying that he wouldn't be on Drunken Peasants because he thought Ben and Billy would just troll him. Now, I was watching Drunken Peasants at the time, and when Ben found out, like the breaks were stopped on the regular show, and we all listened in on the chat. He had already set his Twitch stream to subscriber only. I tried to subscribe and then I had to wait an hour before posting. Fuck that shit. Like, as Ben said it, he was giving him a chance to come out and just, be himself. He didn't care about his girlfriend or his wife. He didn't care about his past shit other than some mild teasing, probably from Billy. But instead, Darkside Phil was Darkside Phil. And it was sad. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I ended up rewatching the Darkside Phil episode of Damn the Rabbit Hole. And it's like he never expanded from what I'm doing here. In fact, in many ways, what I'm doing is more advanced than what he started off doing. He would literally point a camera at his screen and record himself playing. But you could clearly see it was a screen. And he did it for years. And suddenly he was surprised that other YouTubers were ripping him apart. If I were to ever make it big, it's not going to happen. But if I ever made it big, I would shit, I can barely read that one. I think I missed it. I was rambling. If you want to repost that, Bill, I'd appreciate it so I can see it on screen. If I could. Alright, from here on out, I will make the chat a lot bigger. This is a promise to you. I mean, the chat not on screen, but the chat for me on my screen. I wasn't... And then that's all I got. So, if you want to say something, by all means, re-upload it. But yeah, Darkside Phil, he kind of really made himself look as bad as people say he is. And when you do that, when you become the stereotype, like, I don't know. Yeah, like, if I ever became, like, that famous, if I hit 1,000, I would learn how to, like, have openings and closings, and I'd upgrade my fucking stream, you know? They said he was doing that for years, and then when people complained about it, he got blocked. When he would get raged, he would block people, or claim that they were cheating, or 500,000 other things. Like, Phil, I honestly think this is one of the last chances Phil had to come across as normal, as redeemable, as not as bad as people say about him. But I mean, I remember Total Biscuit just casually saying shit like, that's pretty much a R.I.P. TB. But I remember Total Biscuit going on about, like, that's more of a Darkside Phil thing, isn't it? And you're fucking right it is. Darkside Phil showed his fucking colours last night. Just in case anyone was like, oh no, it can't be that bad. Oh, it's that bad. Oh, correction on my speed, by the way. I haven't changed the speed yet, but I'm about to hit a distance of 6k for 6 speed, which of course means that I've been running for an hour. However, and this is the key thing here, I need to get like 7 or 9. We're on 24-hour show. We responded to that earlier. Evan! Hi, Evan. 24-hour show will happen. Well, first, the straw poll is still up, by the way, Evan. Second of all, It is. I'll know next week what the final score is, because the 24-hour show is now being challenged by a talk show. Speaking of, Evan, if the talk show wins out, would you like to be my first guest? Either way, I imagine we'll see you in the chat. Yeah, I kind of noticed that too. Meanwhile, I'm battling this fucking sea of sweat. It's almost like I'm exercising or something. There you go. There you are. Like a traffic jam of fucking torrent data. Well, man, either way, we'll find out next Wednesday. That's when the cutoff for the straw poll is. So if you know anyone who likes to occasionally pop in my chat, or even just wants to see you, the two front runners are gonna probably guarantee you in it. The exact date, probably a week after. Dude, that's a first there, guys. Evan Lefebvre, first guest on, I know, Low Energy Talk. I had to find up a good name for it. I did have Low Energy Rambles, but that's now my gaming streams. Because as anyone who's watched me some nights when I'm gaming, I will just go on a fucking tangent. Hell, this stream has just been one giant tangent. Forget running, I might as well just run my mouth. I'm killing off more calories. Speaking of, that number sets at 430. No idea how much the beer cost me. Anyway, yeah, so next week is going to be the cutoff point for the straw poll. And then the week after that will be the week I do whatever the end result is. If they want travel videos, ooh, that one's going to get a bit creative. But that's starting to come back up as well. If they want to go to a talk show, I just have to find content. And 24-hour stream, I'm going to have to delete a lot of things to bring in as many games as possible. But also, I'll keep the chat room open. Of course, as always, by the way. The chat room's always open to everyone who wants it. If you are on stream and instead of typing, you just want to talk, I'm free. Except, the only times I'm ever thinking of that is when I'm like gaming a really intense game. I probably wouldn't be able to chat quite as well. But even then, I'd still bring you on. Whew. Fuck me in a half shell, turtle power. I know what a lot of fat people do when they say, oh, when I hit my appropriate weight. Fuck that shit, I've done this enough time to tell you. When I hit a weight that I'm comfortable with, I'll go out and I'll buy a certain amount of clothes. And I'll feel less constrained than an airplane seat. Or a bus seat, or a train seat, or that seat. Because love handles, baby. Fucking love handles. Christ. Christ almighty, I am sweating beyond buckets. It looks like they're on the control panel. It looks like it's been raining. I need to get my hands on a sweatband. I did say I'd sweat extra much because I've been drinking. Yeah. Bone broth. I am proud of you working hard on your health, man. These workout streets are a great idea. I can't take credit for them. Whoever first came up with them, they take the true responsibility. But I realized I can get lost in a ramble, and that can kill 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, as you've seen tonight. Before I have to refocus, and then I'm like, oh yeah, my limbs are in absolute agony. However, and this is the key in, the Brett key in, if you will, I realized I'm gonna do this anyway. So I might as well strap a fucking camera in front of me. If one person ends up watching this shit and goes off to the gym or starts running in their neighborhood or just cuts back on as much fat, that's great. But if they want to eat twice as much and just relax and watch me suffer, that's great too, because then I'm giving them joy, aren't I? So it's all good. I mean, in all fairness, one is a lot better than the other, but let's be honest, we can't all spend all day eating junk food and gaining weight. Only the truly lucky of us get that. Hold on. Yeah, it seems like a great way to keep your mind occupied. It is. You see, I once was running to TJ, and I told TJ I was running while watching you, and TJ looked at me, looked at the camera and went like, dude, like, doesn't that seem like a very mellow way of running? You want something more pumped up? And then he started naming off lists of like songs, like bands and shit. But he misunderstood me. I love getting distracted. I love reading audiobooks and watching Arch Warhammer talk about the Vrax campaign for like 2 weeks straight. He's moving more and more into Vampire the Masquerade now. Very interesting. Never gave that game a time of day. I gotta download it, I gotta buy it, I gotta play it. But point is, I get distracted very easily. When I'm distracted, I don't care that my legs are currently on fire, or that I'm so covered in sweat, or that I stink to high heaven, which is current case right now. I am beyond a stinky boy. And I'm gonna be a stinky boy for another 20 minutes. Well, 23 minutes. I do indeed. I played the entirety of the first game a few months back, from start to finish. So I've been playing, what's the game called? What have I been playing? Metro and things like that. I also reinstalled Fallout New Vegas. I'm going to get it ready. I'm not going to say it's going to happen this week, but maybe next week on Wasted Wednesday, I'll probably be playing it's like Ashford or something like that. There's a whole region that's unlocked, but it's not as big as New California. Basically, it's going to be a mod game. It's not going to be as big, and it's not going to be as detailed, but it's still pretty impressive. And more important than else, it doesn't crash every 5 seconds. Pardon me a moment. Let us. Yeah, so Bioshock. I've got Bioshock 1. In fact, I also have System Shock 2. And I'm sure somewhere I've got System Shock 1. Wouldn't recommend it. It hasn't aged at all well. But System Shock 2 is still my baby. And I will start and finish that game. No problem. As for Bioshock 2, I don't have it. I've played it, I've beat it multiple times, but I don't have it on the PC. And as for Infinite, I've beaten it twice on the 360. Wow, I gotta go back over that. I had no idea what it sounded like. Quite honestly, I needed to fart. But although I'm covered in sweat and shit, I still... Well, not shit, because I was very careful. But, you know, I still needed to have a little bit of decorum, little bit of respect for my audience. Speaking of, update in 10 seconds. Jesus. Sweet merciful marmalade. 7 kilometers. Distance, still 6. Calories, 491. Which I think means a calorie every 10 seconds. I call bullshit on that, but whatever. Speed, 6. And of course, distance under 20 minutes. 20 minutes to go, and I can hop into the tub and let my limbs kill me. Woo! Calories, nearly 500. Damn, by that logic, I should get about maybe 600 calories. Jesus, that's the first. The arms are so sweaty. Mom's spaghetti. For the record, my mom could never cook spaghetti to save her life. I had to learn that shit myself. She makes good sauces though. Anyway, very sweaty armrest, so my hand just kind of slipped. Whew. I got a lot of games and a lot of platform. I did too, man. But I hate to admit it, I've been selling them as of late. I've still got a PS1 with like 8 games, but most of the wires are gone now. I've been cannibalizing them for money. You don't really like spaghetti. Like you, buddy. I mean, you're entitled to your own beliefs. No, he's not. Shame him. I make good pasta. I think pasta is my most common dish I make. Normally with like some really nice sauces. I made a tuna bake once that was absolutely gorgeous. And I gotta make it this year. It's like a lasagna, hot sauce, tuna melt with noodles. In like a lasagna tray. And oh my god, that lasted 4 days. It was just every time I could get away from the toilet. It was the most nicest thing in the world. Next time I'm not going to put half as much hot sauce into it. I was thinking like, oh, what's the point of that? The hot sauce will be burned off by... Nope. No. Oh boy. I started to have to add more garlic into it. Jesus. Just to mellow it out. I mean, PC games, not real hard copies, except maybe World of Warcraft. Oh well. Now thinking about it, I've actually still got a few hard copies of PC games. But I have no way of making them work on my modern computer. I've got Spore, the big white box of the Galactic Edition. What a letdown of a game. But I'm actually glad I managed to get it to emulate. I've got a lot of Stronghold games, I've got a lot of Civilization games. In fact, a copy of Civilization 2 is currently sitting on my PC tower as we speak. Not an easy game to make work on a modern computer. Got Alpha Centauri. I got Blitzkrieg, which I will be playing on Wednesday, by the way. I'll be playing Blitzkrieg for the first time. I've never played it. I never got it to work on my older computer. I was sitting there, and by the time I got around to it, it was too old. Sitting there situation. Oh boy, my legs are now finally kicking in. They're like, hey, we've been running for well over an hour. Maybe not do that. That's what I think of you, legs. Keep marching. Yeah, 15 more minutes. When I'm done, bath. I don't care what comes afterwards. I do need something solid in me though. I'll see what I got in the kitchen. I've got like £3 on me, so push comes to shove, I'll just go for the chipper or something. Kind of defeats the purpose, but Wasted Wednesday is the one day of the week where I'm not on my diet. But beer doesn't count. Never counts. Beer is fuel of the future and the past. Oh yes. Hope Goggy's next. It's next God Connect up at Bethesda Games. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Bethesda games, I remodded Morrowind and Oblivion. No, I haven't done Oblivion yet. I have it set up to remod. So expect to see that shit soon. Skyrim is going to be a creature all of its own. I hate to say it, but the Dark Brotherhood quest, as far as I'm aware, I might have overwritten the save file. As such, I'm not quite sure where I am in it. Assuming it's even there. Which is a shame, but rectifiable if I put enough effort into it. In fact, with console commands, you can actually just skip by missions entirely. Just say that, oh, complete mission / Dark Brotherhood / and then the mission's name, and then execute, and then boom. And finally, or even skip right to it. And then they're like, hello, brother. You might have just walked in our doors for the first time, but you are also a massive assassin, you know. So I can do that shit. But more importantly, Morrowind has been getting a lot of mods up lately, and I want to explore them. Particularly new areas. Now, old Ebonheart is beyond my computer. I don't know how to fucking make that shit work. Where do you go to pick up the boat that'll take you to the mainland? Where's Ebonheart? Where's all the other places? Doesn't fucking matter though. What matters is we're coming close to 111. $11.50. That's 50 too much, big brother. Make that 50 go away. I have never played Morrowind, but I own it. Heard it's good things. Got used to WAS. I think if you have it on Steam, it's there are people who've put effort in to make them controller enabled. But yeah, WAS. But don't worry about running, because you just hit down Q and you run. And in fact, that adds on to your athletic points. So always put your major in athletic. But here's the thing, there's no fast travel except for the Mages Guild. And I suppose the Silt Striders. They can't get you to the little nuance points. But what can is a mod I have installed from Nexus that you look at a signpost and when you click on it, it will just teleport you there. Now I know, a lot of purists will be like, oh, but the point of Morrowind is that it's a role-playing experience. I totally agree. But Oblivion was a role-playing experience. Skyrim's a role-playing experience. Fallout 3 and 4. And New Vegas, particularly New Vegas, are role-playing experiences. But, let's be honest here. They all have fast travel. Oh my god. I'm not kidding, I don't know if you guys can see it. The sweat is down to my belly button on this thing. Also, we got 10 minutes to go. No. Jesus Christ. John. No, I don't like the lack of fast travel because of the random number generator game. Oh, yeah, here's a major problem in combat in Morrowind. It goes by a rolling of the dice, more or less. When you hit someone, which you clearly can see can hit, it actually doesn't connect. Instead, you need to have the skill in the particular style of which you attack. So, for example, let's say you have a majority in spears, right? Spears are about thrusting. So, you go and you thrust at an enemy with a warhammer. It's going to have a higher chance of connecting than if you literally slam them on top of their heads. But because it's a warhammer, it's not designed for that. So it'll have far less things. You have to contribute in how their dodge reactions work, but the thing is, they don't get such logic. When they hit you, it goes down to your agility and nothing else. So if they, for example, do a sort of down cut with a claymore, but they're skilled in, say, spears, they'll connect with you because the claymore is designed to be used as that. But if you tried that, your skills would deny you it. So I have a mod to correct that. I tried it out last night and oh, it was so satisfying. I went to a nearby cave with a bunch of slave drivers and I killed them. And it felt like I was properly killing them, like I did in Oblivion or in Skyrim, particularly Skyrim, because I had a hammer. So when I hit them over their head, you saw a huge chunk of their health going down. So mods are required for ease of life. Sometimes those mods are OP as fuck. I actually have the Infinity Gauntlets in Morrowind. The Gauntlets of the Immortal. Touch insta-death for 1 billion damage. So if you just want to go around and start killing people. Also, toggle god mode doesn't work in the same way as it does in Oblivion or in Skyrim. Falling damage still hurts you. Magic damage can, in theory, hurt you. They fixed it for Oblivion. Jesus. Let's just say that it's not finished, and when you hear about how Todd, which I'm not a big fan of Todd Howard, when you hear about how he put that shit together at the last moment, like 70% of the game was finished. Oh well, just do what I did. YouTube has you covered, bro. Start by going to Nexus Mod Manager and joining in, registering, and then add in Nexus Vortex. And Vortex is such a well put together program that it even has links to like YouTube channels explaining how this shit will work. Vortex, however, has its own set of problems, but if you're just installing one or two simple things, it's pretty straightforward. And if you haven't messed up mods at all, most modern games, and even games like as far back as the early 2000s, have a folder simply called mods. All you do is just drag and drop them into that file. You just see what the requirements on the website is prior. You'll get used to it. I did. I'm a fucking klutz. The Sims. I've modded the living shit out of The Sims. I miss spellcrafting. Yeah, Oblivion had that shit covered. Never did spellcrafting in Morrowind though. I know it's doable. I did enchant armor though. I once had an enchantment that was 105% damage protection against melee on a breastplate. So I was wondering what that extra 5% was. So I went into a cave. This was late game. And sure enough, I let like an ogre hit me, and I noticed 5% of its attack was bounced back on it. What's my favorite Maxis game? Oh god, it depends on the era in my life. I think Sims 2 and Sims 1 grasped what Will was after. But if you're talking about a superior game, SimCity 4 is up there. The ultimate SimCity until City Skylines showed up. That's all the salt in my mouth. From all the sweat. Woo! And maybe the beer too. Probably Sims 3. Sims 4 is fine. I love the modification tools on it. But if you have to say the best thing about a game is what you can do after they upload it. Now Sims 3 on the other hand, you can mod the living shit out of everything built into the game with the color wheel and shit like that. But well, they would just have made one SimCity. Oh shit! I only got the tail end of that, man. I was looking up my ceiling on my little rants. I got 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Christ Almighty. Woo! Sims 3, I think, was the pinnacle of what The Sims could be. But at the end of the Sims 3 lifestyle, the microtransactions popped in and, like, go to the store and buy a slightly different looking oven. You know? The hints were there. It's like horse armor in Oblivion. Fuck me and a half shell, total power. I know I said that earlier, but I've earned it now. Fuck you, Jared Genesis. May your stepdads always come in to steal your fucking computers. I'm not kidding, Jared. Come on, be one of my guests on the talk show. Anyway, Sims 3 was the most mess-aroundable game. It felt more real too, the way you had to get to a car to go to work, the way you had to, like, I'm trying to think of, I love the genetics vibe of it. Whereas, like, you know your uncle, but do you really know your cousin? Do you really know your cousin? Not always. Then Sims 4 came out, and with it came a modding community that was fucking ready. You have the weed mod, stoned, or legal highs, I think that's what that's called. Legal and illegal highs. So I always install that. I often, when I'm playing a singular stoner sim, I have him be the dealer. That way he gets to deal with tons of people who comes to him. And then Wicked Whims, and there's no other way around it. That shit can get fucking hot. 3, 2, 1. Oh, we did it, by the way, fam. We did it. 630 calories. Hour and a half. Oh my god, I am in pure agony. If I wasn't drinking, could you imagine the pain I was going through right now? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm quite uncomfortable, but... I always wished they would have had made one big game to unite all the other Sims. Oh, they tried to do that. They tried to do that. It was called Sim World, and it was a fucking disaster. Not because of Maxis, though, but the technology at the time. The idea would be this. It would show you a world, like a huge globe of the planet, which would be a server, which was not the first time that's ever happened. Kind of like RimWorld, if you've ever seen RimWorld. And then, or what the PS3 used to do when it had the connectivity function installed. Look at all these people currently on the PSN network. But they would have like icons for your individual sim in a city, so to speak. And you click on them, and then it would zoom into a version of your sim's house from late Sim 2 to mid Sim 3. And it would also relate then to, in theory, this was the theory that never got off the ground. They wanted to show what would happen if, while playing Sim 4, Rush Hour Edition, where you could input your Sim's characters, if your city did badly, your Sim would then do, the city you would live in would start looking shittier and shittier, basically. It did not work. There was too many problems, too many ifs and buts, and the technology was not there. But it's kind of like EVO Online, things like that, like interactive shit, where if you control the territory, you can then order a bombardment in on the system, things like that. So that did happen, and it was a failure, which is a shame. But Will Wright, you know, he had bigger problems at the time. Anyway, I am covered in sweat and salt. I mean, you can kind of see the colouring. Like, it's down to fucking here. I am exhausted. I'm quite hungry, too. So, for a great stream, my friend. Thank you very much, Evan. Anyone who isn't, please subscribe to Evan Lefevre. The man puts me to shame 20 trillion times over. But anyway, to anyone who watched, thank you so much for keeping me distracted. I know this is an extra rambly episode. I've been drinking, and I kind of did it at the last moment. I'll be back tomorrow to play, to go pre-drinking in Rabbit, where we'll watch the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Dungeons and Dragons movie. And I highly suggest, if you want to join, look down to the Rabbit link down below in the description. Along with the straw poll, very important. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to to throw your vote into the straw poll. And after pre-drinking tomorrow, I will be playing 2 games. One of which is Blitzkrieg, where I will go in for the first time, and the other is not. Yeah. So, we shall see. Alright, I've got shit to do, mostly involving peeling off this, which is one of the sicker things you have to do when you're this fat. You have to peel off your clothes. And, Anyway, if you like what you saw, remember to give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you don't subscribe. You know the gist. Check the description for all the links that might apply to you. And I will see you again tomorrow. So, until then, take care.